Hey, welcome to the show. Daver here.
This guy's Chad.
And Chandler's back as well. How we doing, Dave?
Oh, we're doing great. It's a new year. We had a big AEW pay-per-view to end the not great year of 2023. I can't call it that.
The year.
But
it was
the year. Dang, they were sold out at that Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, New York, which I didn't think was going to happen.
I couldn't tell. The crowd was so quiet during some of those matches, but nice that at least they sold out.
Yeah. But yeah, we had a Worlds End, neat little sneaky pay-per-view. They stuck in there for us at the end of the year. Yeah, and we had a prediction episode that dropped a few days ago, and we're going to reap what we've sowed and tally up our points here on our match by match and see who's got to eat Barnett's Mega Sour Fruit. Wee.
Not sponsored. So if they suck, we can say that. Ooh. But I kept. Ooh.
They're telling us consumption without a brief or consumption within a brief time may cause temporary mouth and or stomach irritation.
Like those nuts. Oof.
Oh,
That was
I don't
stomach
think nothing could get
irritation.
worse than that. Those were awful.
If these candies are somehow like half as bad, I'll be shocked. But I kept track of the numbers and the points. Like last time, there were a few matches we didn't keep track of because they were just announced way too late or we didn't know about them. So Willow versus Chris Statlander, we missed that. The 8-man tag, we missed that. And then we did not count the second TNT title match. Slight spoilers, but we didn't know about that one either. But essentially, once again, second place, two-way tie, fighting for balance here. Chad and Dave with 24 points, which means I'm the winner. I got 29 points. The biggest things that set us all apart. So I got the Battle Royale right? Kill Switch. I knew it. We connected. And then I went all on my boy Joe, of course. I learned my lesson. And then it was just some stuff like the TNT title kept Chad down. Dave didn't go all in on Swerve and Hook. But yeah, just funny that once again we ended in a tie.
Yeah, kept it interesting. I think we have some value, in our system here, which I really enjoyed.
I was pretty excited during the Battle Royale. Not to jump too far ahead, but Danhausen was making it pretty far into it. And I was like screaming. Then all of a sudden I saw that stupid dinosaur, and I was like, "No, Chandler!"
Wasn't he like number? That was one of
his booking genius again.
That was one of the few matches I missed because I only started with Hook and Yuta and then moved on. But wasn't he like third?
Yeah.
My goodness, you got close.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I hate like Jay White and Danny Garcia were great shouts, but if we had known the tag match, obviously you guys wouldn't have said them.
Yeah.
So just happenstance. Also, I wanted to ask Dave, we didn't get a chance to change it, but if you had known that it was going to be Swerve and Dustin, would you have still picked Dustin?
All Swerve.
Okay. I would have just
no way in tarnation would Dustin win that.
You still, with our rule, you still would have lost, so you still would have had to do the punishment. But I just wanted to ask that. Like, I figured we'll get to that. Best match on the card.
Yeah. So, So do we want to go through each match and then go with the points for each one first?
No, I don't think we did that last time. I think we just went in through the matches. I think, we know. I mean, I can bring them back up, but we want to just start with Willow and Chris.
So are we going to eat a ball for every match?
Oh, that was what You guys want to do that? You guys are the one doing the punishment.
I'm okay with it.
Do you guys have what, like
Oh yeah, there are
11
so many
balls?
I got
balls.
like 30.
Okay, yeah. If you guys are, that'd be fun.
Cool. Okay, let me get situated here.
Years.
All right. Here we go. I got an old yeller
All right,
here.
I got a greenie. Too sweet me.
Too sweet.
This is super sour water, by the way. So I'm participating. Ooh, ooh,
Yeah, they're good.
Oh, Sour Boy is the worst.
ooh.
Oh,
Not as
look
bad as the
good.
fire. Not as bad as Death Nuts, though.
Chandler, tell us about them not being legal in America.
Are they? I mean, I was able to buy them, and I live in America. So,
Like up until not that long ago, right?
yeah, I didn't. I just saw it on their website. They're like, "Oh, we only were able to ship them until 2023. Like, I think summer 2023. So they were too sour for them kids. But I guess they decided f them kids. Bring them out. Bring them out.
So they're coated, and then they got a candy,
Mmm.
a normal candy.
Well, I'll say this. When we review Dynamite on Thursday, I should have them by then. So I'll try a couple when we review Dynamite, just so I can try out the fun. But I don't have mine right now,
Okay,
unfortunately.
Although once you get
I
past
did
the
it.
sour, the flavor is actually kind of nice.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right, we've got. I think I'm going to crunch my candy.
Little ASMR here.
Ooh, now we're really improving.
Little ASMR.
Mm-hmm. Can't hear it that well, so I can't tell if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
All right, match number one candy out of the way. Woo!
Get it going.
Little impromptu Continental Classic competitor match. Brian Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Mark Briscoe, and Daniel Garcia against Roosh, Jay White, Brody King, and Jay Lethal. Cool little kind of stroll down memory lane. I liked how we got to see people who faced each other and had memorable moments, kind of relive that. And it was cool to see a couple kind of new matchups. Also, like it was kind of good to see Jay Lethal and Briscoe in there together. And then it was refreshing to see Jay White and Brian Danielson uh, uh, throw down for a little bit in there, which, God, give me that sometime soon before Danielson retires.
Yeah, we're on borrowed time. Let's get these matches in. This league was great, but there's still more.
We got a lot to get done. Had a cool moment with Garcia blind tagging Danielson right when he winds up to do a yes kick. Kind of cool. Garcia taking that spotlight. We got Garcia in the ring with Brody King. Like I said, a nice little callback to the tournament. We got Brody King confronting Daddy Magic, who was on commentary. Called him a bitch. Said he's not going to do anything, and man, that really seemed pretty real. Like that was pretty intense. Garcia ends up getting isolated and beat down for quite a while. Bloody nose from all that. At one point, Mark Briscoe does a blockbuster, then a froggy bow off the apron onto the floor. Excalibur made a really cool point that I liked, that basically this is Mark Briscoe's rookie year as a singles competitor. Kind of cool way to look at that. Claudio and Brody King threw down for a while. We got the meat chants from that. Giant swing drop kick combo from Claudio and Brian Danielson to Brody King. Really cool tandem move, great cohesion. within the BCC. We got Jay Lethal going for a figure 4 on Mark Briscoe. But let's see. Or Jay Lethal goes for a figure 4, but Mark Briscoe does a froggy bow on Lethal. Every guy ends up hitting their move in quick succession at the end. Garcia suplexes King. Lethal goes for a lethal injection, but Garcia rolls him up for the win. He dances. Mark Briscoe does a little dance. And Brody King ends up decking Daddy Magic off camera, too. Yeah, fun. Definitely a fun little match. And now that I'm thinking about it, I totally skipped over 0 Hour.
We can go back to that, but let's talk about this for half a second here. I feel like this was definitely like second best or match of the night for me. It was really exciting. It was just kind of a lot of spots, but that's never a bad thing, especially with the current cast we had. Not to just repeat some of the stuff you said, but I really loved that. You know, Garcia coming out, he's getting his entrance, he's about to dance, and he's cut off by Danielson because Danielson can't let him have anything. And then Danielson's doing his kicks. He's yes, yes, yes. And then Garcia steals it and he gets in there. He steals his momentum. I was like, are they doing something with him finally? And then I really like this story where it's like, as long as he doesn't dance in these matches, he can win, which that's silly sports entertainment, but I don't care. Danny Garcia is doing it well. And then having Daddy Magic on commentary was great because there was a time where he was trying to get involved and they were like, no, you'll get fined, you'll lose your career, yada, yada, yada. And Nigel McGuinness was like, I'm sure there's someone out there that'll fine you. And he's talking about Danielson and all this fine bollocks and all that. Like, I think I'm on Nigel McGuinness's side with Hayden Danielson. He really knows what he's talking about. And then I think another small bit that I liked is right when Brody King was getting in Daddy Magic's face, you can see Jay White like egging him on, like, yeah, keep doing it. You got him. You can take him out. So just little tiny things they peppered out. Like you can really feel the personalities in this 8-man tag. So I thought it was executed to perfection for only knowing about it like for a day. So really well done.
Yeah, it was so cool how they kind of kept all those little mini storylines up in the air during that whole 8-man tag, all the funny little interactions, the little look at the after the match that Garcia gave Brian Danielson was like pretty kind of cool. Yeah, fucking yet again, Jay White just oozing fucking confidence and being cocky. I'm like, I just can't stop watching him now. I hope he continues that direction and doesn't just kind of fold back into the the Bullet Club Gold and kind of just become sort of that hapless, goofy guy again. Because this cocky, dangerous version of Jay White is awesome. Yeah, that little moment between Briscoe and Lethal right at the beginning, they did a quick little handshake, like kind of keeping that respect going. I thought that was badass too. Yeah, all in all, just a great thing. Do you guys think that Garcia and Bryan are gonna start another feud? Kind of
I hope so.
Continue what they did when he was thinking of going BCC.
Be an excellent match for Revolution. One quick thing about what you just said with Jay White and the Bullet Club Gold. I think it was interesting the build to Full Gear. A lot of it was, can MJF surpass all of Bullet Club Gold? When I would argue Jay White is almost more competent since losing all of Bullet Club Gold. Like, it's kind of weird to think like he was able to get through and get to the finals of the CC all by himself. He beat Mox all by himself. Like, sure, it was a little dastardly, but that doesn't matter. He still did it. So,
yeah, tables turned. Mox would have done the same thing.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have a program though. Danielson and Garcia. I think they should kick out Yuta, add Garcia.
Well,
BCC.
we'll get to that when we get to the like 0 hour again. But my goodness, I think I could just finally admit it. I do not like Yuta And I know they just are building him eventually. Man, I just think he needs to build himself on Ring of Honor for 5 years just because I don't have to see him. Like, oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
I'm not into him at all. Like I was when he had that match against Moxley and bled and earned their respect and all that. It was cool, but
Yeah, just don't put a mic in his hand. Great
yeah.
wrestler.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure he
Yep.
has done great things. It's just he hasn't done them in a while, or he's not doing them on Dynamite or Collision or pay-per-view. And that's unfortunately all I'm watching.
Yeah. But yeah, do you want to pivot back to 0 Hour?
Yeah,
It's not that
so unfortunately, I started watching the show late. I only started watching the show at like 15 minutes till end. So with the broadcast, I only started at Hook and Yuta. So I've only seen Hook and Yuta. I have not seen Willow and Statlander and the Battle Royale, but I know kind of what happened, so I can talk about them. What did you guys think about Willow and Chris? I know it ended with a botch. That's all I know.
sloppy. Like it was good until then. I mean, I wasn't captivated, to
I
be
had a hard
honest.
time paying attention. Stokely and Taz were cracking me up, and I could
Yeah,
not pay attention to the match.
Oh, I missed a funny
that was the
Taz
best part of the
commentary.
match.
No, I need to go back.
That's the best part of the match was Stokely and Taz commentary.
Taz has been on fire with these Tony Storm bits. Like, I got to give him more credit. He's been so funny, but I digress.
Human duplex machine.
Human duplex machine. That's a landlord I tip.
Lord.
Oh my gosh. But I mean, I think just comparing to the 1-0 hour match I did see, even with the botch, I would have preferred seeing Willow and Chris because Willow's great, Chris is great. Probably would have been better than the match I did see. But do you guys have anything else more to say about Willow and Chris?
Yeah, it was pretty unfortunate trying to watch Willow pick up Statlander twice for a gut wrench or a Dr. Bomb or no, what was it?
Yeah,
Gut
it
wrench.
was a gut wrench suplex.
Statlander just straight up basically leg dropped her because she fell on top of her. Like it looked so bad.
Oof.
And I
Yeah.
was thinking in my head, like, please don't let this like be the trend of the pay-per-view.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, unfortunate. And then we had the 20-man battle royale. It seems like it was Luchasaurus and 19 jobbers. Is that true?
Lance Archer was
okay.
a non-jobber, I'd say.
And I mean, you know, Trent Barrera isn't a jobber, but he's also not on Dynamite or Collision. Beretta, sorry. But you know what I'm saying? Like, Danhausen isn't a jobber, but he hasn't been on Dynamite or Collision more than just like
my
a
boy
quick
Danhausen that kept my hopes alive all the way up to the final 3, baby.
Yeah, just to go back, I mean, we had some interesting choices for this battle royale. I picked Kill Switch because I was like, no matter what, who wins, that's an interesting idea. I didn't think they'd use it that night, but it's interesting. And then you guys both had Jay White and Daniel Garcia, which if y'all had known they were going to be in the 8-man tag, you wouldn't have said them. But again, we just didn't know. But your backups were Danhausen, which is pretty good. And then Scorpio Sky, which I don't know where he's been. I don't know what he's doing. But you could also maybe say that was it beneath him?
Yeah.
I know he's one of those battle royals.
Yeah, where the hell is he? Damn it. He was one of my favorite, like, FCU was cool. That was early AEW. Him and Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. Yeah, I like Scorpio a lot. I hope he's not, like, hurt and just, who knows?
Maybe he'll show up on Dynamite.
Yeah, I mean, he showed up on Collision and had, like, a couple matches.
Was that the Punk era? Was that when he was around? Maybe Punk liked him, and now that Punk isn't there, whatever. This is big speculation, but whatever issues that Scorpio Sky had that kept him off of TV, Punk was like, I don't care, I want him. And now that Punk isn't there, they're like, well, we're just going to keep him off TV. I don't know. I've never even seen the guy wrestle.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, I just wrote down a couple of the beats of the end of the match. At the point where Archer wakes up from being covered in tables, I guess. On the outside, he wakes up and destroys everybody. Let's see. Um, it comes down to Lance Archer, Danhausen, Trent, and Killswitch. Trent and Danhausen end up eliminating Lance Archer together. They hug, and then Trent eliminates Danhausen. Oh,
That's like my
man.
least favorite spot in battle royales, where it's two faces that are smaller than the heel, and or like two heels smaller than the big face, and they eliminate someone, and they're like, "Yeah, we did it!" And then one of them turns on the other, and they like, I hate that spot so much. Can you not like? There's a dinosaur behind you. Take care of him, and then turn on each other. But you know, obviously, Killswitch was going to win, so that's not going to happen. But
Killswitch and Trent are on the apron, and Killswitch ends up headbutting Trent off the apron to win. And he received a contract for a TNT title match, which may or may not come into play a little later. Ooh.
I have no idea if this comes into play. I have no idea.
It's not a spoiler. It's a prediction.
Ooh.
I think I'm gonna do another Barnett for my FT dub.
Oh yeah.
All right. I'll start talking about Yuta. I actually saw this match, so I turned on the pay-per-view and I get greeted with Yuta on the mic, which that's never a great way to start. And he's just kind of blabbing, and then I heard some like big like horn, like boat horn. Apparently that one was pretty bad. Ooh.
They're different. They're all different.
Ooh, that's exciting. That's good to know.
Oh, that escalated quickly.
Just think about the great Yuta while you're suffering.
Was the gag because of the sour or because of the great Yuta?
Oh, good question. That keeps me up at night. But yeah, it's one of those things where the Long Island crowd was like, "Oh, wait, that's our local hockey team. They play that sound. Woohoo!" And it meant something to Hook. It meant something to Taz. Good for them. This was like a 12-minute match. It was like halfway through, I just wrote, this is a very mid-plunder match. Like, there's another no DQ match later on that matters a lot more. So they're not going to overexcite the crowd, especially on the 0 hour. But I think it was Hook hit a very tasty suplex on a trash can in the corner. And then he got a hockey stick and he broke it like immediately over Yuta. So I guess he's just that hardcore. And then he put him in the red rum, lit the hockey stick, like half of it, and Yuta tapped out. And that was it.
Yeah. Is it Home Depot or Lowe's? You can get the FTW brand trash can and lid.
Really? That's kind of cool.
No, is it? Which one is it? Can you get that?
Which one? I don't know.
That was a joke.
Oh.
Funny guy. Funny guy. My dog kind of wants one of these sour things.
Oh, what would it do to a dog?
No, don't let him.
I don't want to have to clean up that mess.
Yeah, he's probably smart.
Be like that one time I ate Arby's.
Oof. Yeah. You ever had their meat mountain at Arby's?
No.
Obviously Dave hasn't, but they just take all of their meat and put it on one sandwich. It is terrible.
What?
It doesn't taste like anything. It's just like chicken, roast beef, bacon, turkey, ham, whatever else they have, and like 3 different slices of cheese. And you're like, this is just like I'm just tasting gruel. Like you could have just mashed this all together and it would have tasted the same. And then I looked up I never do this, but I looked up the nutritional facts afterwards, and I'm glad I did. It was like 7 times the amount of your daily amount of sodium in this one thing, in this one burger. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad it sucked, because then I would feel bad for wanting to eat it, but now I'll never eat it again. Anyways,
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's like a hidden menu thing. So you got to go there and say, hey, can I get the meat mountain? I'm sure they don't. I don't know if they still do it. But
challenge accepted.
Oh man.
Speaking of a bunch of meat, what did you two think of Hook and Yuta? Was it your match of the night?
Oh no. No.
Man.
In fact, I had already moved on emotionally.
Oh, you weren't gonna talk
I was ready
about
to
it.
I was ready to talk about Miro.
Right? I miss how they launched Hook. He had like mystique, he was violent, super interested, and now it's just like, oh yeah, I kind of forget he's there until he shows up again. Like, I feel like they kind of botched him a little.
I think putting him, and then I didn't see Hook back when he was good, but seeing Hook with Orange Cassidy, I would say, like, they're just kind of different. Like, just going off of vibes, Hook when he's good is like a killer. Like, he'll just come up and choke you out like Taz would, and that's awesome. And Orange Cassidy is all laid back and he's chill and he doesn't care. And they work together in a goofy tag team. But when they hang around for too long, it brings Hook down to that normal-ish level of OC. So they probably just have to separate them. But it seems like they kind of have, because OC is just with Rocky Romero and Danhausen. But I don't know. But if Dave doesn't have anything to say, might as well move on to Andrade's last AEW match.
You got anything, Chad?
Nope. I said my piece. I want Hook to be relevant again. Let's make Hook great again.
Ooh, okay.
2024.
Ooh. You know how many people we got to make great again in 2024? There's only so many hours of TV time in the week.
Fair.
But I agree. It'd be cool to see a nice, fun Hook.
Yeah. For sure. But yeah, after that, 0 Hour, our first official match or second official match of the pay-per-view, we got Miro versus Andrade, which is probably Andrade's last AEW match for a minute.
I don't think it's probably. I think it is. But
yeah, kind of a interesting twist at the end, which we'll get to, but very violent, hard-hitting match, which of course it was going to be. Miro definitely went over looking like a complete monster at the end of it. And it was good to see CJ Perry back from her finger infection.
yeah, she told us about it on the match. Could you tell?
Yeah, I loved how uncomfortable Taz was visibly getting about like the home drama that she was like
bringing out in front of I was like, do we need to keep watching this couple fight on TV? Like, come on,
Taz
guys. I think therapy's cheaper.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess the match started out with Miro attacking Andrade right off the bat. Andrade's jacket was still on. Andrade goes for a dive on the outside, but Miro punches him. CJ Perry's upset with Andrade. She's yelling at him to get up. Andrade shoves Miro over the announcer's table. Table gets destroyed. We get a big superplex, which it was the night of the superplexes too. I'm sure you guys noticed. Really loud chops to Miro from Andrade. Andrade does a dragon screw to Miro on the ropes on the apron, and then a big crossbody. We got Andrade hitting a moonsault on Miro on the outside. Andrade hitting his double swan dive moonsault press for a 2 count. CJ Perry is visibly pissed off. Miro gets Andrade and game over, but Andrade ends up getting to the ropes. Another dragon screw to Miro. Did you catch that little Miro cry after that It was the most
Oh
adorable little
yeah.
thing.
He's like,
Like, it was the highest pitched thing. He should not have done that, just throwing that out there. That was not a good look. Um, I I don't know. I think I wanna have that recorded and, like, put that in something. I don't know. I'll
if you
think of it.
if we ever do like a Twitch chat, we have like people donate and say something that should be like the dono noise. It's
Soundboard.
like, wow, Grapple Sauce guys,
Perfect,
great vid, like something like that. That'd be funny.
perfect, perfect. But yeah, after that little, cute little Miro cry, we got Andrade hitting a back elbow, but Miro kicks out at 2. Andrade gets another figure 4 on Miro, then the figure 8, but Miro reverses it. Andrade flips back over and bridges for the figure 8 again, but CJ Perry swipes his arms out from under him. Oh my gosh. Uh, Miro gets the game over on Andrade again, and Andrade taps for the win. CJ Perry turned on Andrade, and yeah, Miro did not look like he was in on it.
But then afterwards, CJ Perry was like, "That's my husband. Look at him. Like I love him. He won." And it's like, make up your
Holy
damn
shit.
mind. Like, how long are we gonna do this? Who's next? Is she gonna manage Daniel Garcia and then it builds to a match at Revolution and then Miro beats? Like, is like what are we doing? Unless she starts managing Miro, I don't think this will be good. Cause I've seen Lana and Rusev feud for years, and it's always bad. But back to this match, all my good points were about Andrade, so it kind of sucks that he's leaving. Because I don't like Miro is kind of in that same sphere of like Bray Wyatt, unfortunately for me, where they're really popular and I just don't get them and they don't really click with me. Like even seeing Miro, like he looks good, but I just don't care. Like I don't want him to win matches. I don't want him to win a title. I was much more interested in Andrade. So I like, and it was all a lot of stuff that Andrade like always does, like how he recovered that moonsault great. Like, yeah, he always does that. And then his back elbow, where I wrote, it looks like he botches a kick because that's always how it starts. Like, oh, that kicked in. Oh, he was going for the elbow. That's why he's like winding up. Like, such a great spot. And then, I don't know. I hope this is going somewhere.
Yeah, it felt like the WWE like 2010s when all the wrestlers had to be super safe, so they weren't really allowed to do a lot of cool stuff. It felt like a Raw match from back then. I was just kind of like, it's kind of boring. I was listening to my favorite podcasters that aren't you guys, Steve and Larson. They do the live reaction, and they referred to Miro's Tron as the Stargate butthole. So that's going into your head. Probably what happens to you after you eat the meat mountain at Arby's.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It wasn't pretty. That's
Yeah,
all I'll
no,
say.
it's this match did not pass the phone test for me, which is I pulled out my phone and started scrolling on Twitter. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
was not into it. How about you guys?
Yeah, I didn't get the vibe I wanted. I think Miro was in control for far too long. Like Andrade got some shit in, but uh,
But even then, where was the Andrade that we saw during the Continental Classic?
I think he's going, so he's like, ah, whatever. That I'm
Still
telling
though,
you,
he knew about that during the Continental Classic, and he put on amazing matches. Then this one, he was just like, eh.
I don't, I don't know. Yeah, maybe like I hate to say this, maybe it was Miro. Maybe Miro wasn't ready to do ball because
Yeah.
that's like just as prevalent. Take Ambrose and Lesnar at 32, Mania 32. I was so excited for that match because Foley and Funk were coming out. They were giving him the barbed wire baseball bat. He was giving him a chainsaw. And then Lesnar just kind of suplexed him like 13 times, and that was it. That was the match. So it can easily be, hey, I want to go into this with great intentions. We're going to have a great match. And the other guy's like, oh, I don't really want to do that. Maybe Miro was like, well, you're leaving. I don't really want to take a knee to the face at full force. I don't really want to take your elbow to full force. Like, maybe that was just it.
Possible.
But yeah, not a great match. Barely a good match. The crowd wasn't that into it either.
This is where I first wrote down, like, man, this crowd kind of sucks. Like, I get these matches aren't great, but part of what makes these matches fall so flat is they would just die and you would hear nothing. So at least if there was a little bit of buzz or a murmur, you'd be like, oh, okay, there's something going on. But
Start some funny chants or something.
anything, even like when they would do a meat chant in a later match, it like kind of started and kind of kept going and then it died. So at least at the very end, the crowd was active. But for this, like, this was a pretty hard, like, 5 matches to get through. And there was things I enjoyed. Like, this match wasn't bad. The next match wasn't bad, but they were hard to get through.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of a little bit better matches, next up we've got the AEW Women's World Championship, Timeless Tony Storm versus Riho. We end up getting Tony with a half crab on Riho. Luther puts Tony up on his shoulders and helps Tony throw Riho on the floor. Kind of a callback to what they did on Dynamite. Luther ends up getting ejected, trying to pull some more funny business. Riho does a 619 and a crossbody for a 2 count. Riho hits another crossbody on Tony on the outside. Riho stomps Tony Storm and does a dragon suplex. Tony Storm ends up missing a hip attack, but hit Storm 0 for a 2 count. Tony Storm, let's see. Oh, yeah, Tony Storm whipped Riho over her hip. I don't know what they were trying to do there at the end. Like, that looked really bad. Like,
Are you
how
talking about
Riho just kind of.
the finish? Like what one? The over the back DDT is what I described it as. Apparently, that was a
Yeah,
move she used in NXT, and
okay.
I thought it looked good, but I was like, oh, that's the finish. Like we're already done. So I thought it did look like good, but if we had seen it before, if she had ended any other matches with it before, I think it would have been a little bit better because there would have been some precedents like, oh, this is a move that can end matches. And especially for someone like Riho on a pay-per-view. Like Riho's a former champ. Maybe she could have had a little bit more, but she did kick out of the Storm Zero. That's basically a pile driver. So but
Yeah.
it seems like you weren't the biggest fan of this match then, Dave, or how'd you feel about it?
I mean, it was good. I just didn't I didn't catch the DDT part of it. Like, she flipped like a rag doll, just Riho over her
Mhm.
body, but like I didn't see anything happen other than Riho hit the ground. Like, when did the DDT?
I only saw it once. That's
I,
just what I wrote
they
down. She
Yeah,
probably did.
that's what they
Okay.
called it. I think
Oh, that's what they
Excalibur
called
just
it?
like
Oh.
I think he just called it a thing because it looked so bad.
I I don't know. Maybe just a weird I think that was also a pretty big um theme for the night. It's just kind of like mediocre finishes. Like, oh, that was it? Like I think a lot of people's match of the night kind of faltered a big way for me because I was like, that's it? It's over now? But this match specifically, I'll be honest, it wasn't great. Like I did enjoy it, but I think a lot of that was because Tony Storm is one of my current favorite wrestlers. So as long as I get to see Tony Storm do her shenanigans, it's at least like a 2-star match, which
Yeah, I
I'm
think she kind of found her sweet spot, like her gimmick to wrestling. It wasn't as over the top as the plate gate.
Mhm.
That one was a little more too over
Where
the
it's like,
top.
yeah, it's halfway out her ass. It's like, I don't know how you didn't see that, but
Yeah,
whatever, Aubrey.
she was doing she got a lot of her, her cool mannerisms and stuff in, and Luther was friggin' hilarious. I loved it when he caught Rio. That was great.
And he like set her down and like patted her head. And then I thought this was odd, but Tony Storm got on Luther's shoulders and Riho was on the ring and she threw her off. And like commentary was like, we've never seen that before. And a couple podcasts I watched was like, I've never seen that before. And I was like, it happened at like Full Gear a couple Dynamites ago. I can't remember exactly, but she either did that same thing to Sheeta or Sky Blue. So I was like, it's not the first time we've seen it, but I love it. And then Luther getting ejected, I was mad. I was like, you can't do that to my guy. He needs to be here, but
the butler needs to buttle.
But and then I liked the chant of "Ref, you suck! Ref, you suck!" So it was like one of the only time the people kind of spoke up. And that was a kind of it. I felt like Mariah May was giving Toni Storm some odd looks at the end. So maybe we will get that. Maybe we won't. But if I had to have my final, like my big positive for this match, someone on commentary, I think it was Tony Schiavone, just went like, how can you tell when it goes black and white? And Tad was like, I don't know, you just feel it. So like I love their like little banter when they like stop and like that's what some people are legitimately criticizing about. It's like, I don't get it why they go black and white. And I'm like, that's the point, is she's like crazy and like this is her, like this is how she feels, this is how she sees. We're seeing it from her perspective. She's crazy. You know? Did the Undertaker actually conjure lightning, or did we all just kind of go with it? Did Kane actually have power over Hellfire, or did we just kind of go with it?
Yeah, you gotta suspend that disbelief.
Just a little bit.
Um,
Was there an actual zombie on the show? Yes or no? Yes or no? Was there like we just gotta accept it sometimes.
Oh shoot, biting was legal. Ooh.
it was.
Someone gotta check on Julia. Is she okay? Is she feeling well?
Yeah. But yeah, AEW Women's World Championship, Tony retains. After that, we get a little kind of an impromptu matchup. It was supposed to be Swerve versus Keith Lee.
You missed something. They're
Ooh,
doing a
well,
match.
Dante Martin or
Yeah,
Dante Martin.
he's
It
back.
just felt like a yeah. Oh, he's back. Oh my God.
I want you to know every single time. I only wanted to bring this up because I'm at a point where every time they put him on screen, he's always back. He's always just saying, I've been back or I'm back. That's his character. He's back.
He's
And
back.
that's it. He doesn't even do like, it's not even that he does flips, it's that he's back. And so now I just wrote OC versus he's back on Dynamite. Okay, cool. I can't wait. So I don't hate
Rampage.
this. No, it's on Dynamite, is it?
Oh, Dynamite.
I'd be shocked if it's on Rampage. Oh, ooh. You want me to start talking about Swerve? If you guys are taking
you are the Swerve Swerve poster child.
So I was impressed with AEW. I'll go off on a little tangent here. Looks like they're having fun.
This one not good.
Are we getting to the bad ones?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Is it like the nuts where they build?
It gets worse as you go.
That makes sense. Anyways, it was pretty impressive that AEW can keep on making me less and less interested in a Swerve Strickland match, because you started out Swerve and Keith Lee. Okay. All right. I'm excited. You know, this is a long story they've had. I think it'll be a good match. Sure is it what? It's not him pitting MJF in the main event, but we're not there yet. I can take it. So fine. Swerve is on pay-per-view. Oh, Keith Lee is injured. He can't make it. Whatever. Why has he been on Collision these past few weeks if he's been injured? But okay, I'll take your word. He can't make it to the pay-per-view. He's fighting Dustin Rhodes. Okay. Match starts. Or before he starts, Swerve breaks his ankle or whatever. Okay, all right. And I was actually getting excited in this moment because I was like, who are they going to bring out? Like, is Keith Lee okay? Are they going to bring out some big match? Like, I couldn't stop thinking of Cody. I was like, what if they bring Cody out to save his brother? And I was like, oh, no way. And then Dustin is like, I can do it. I can win this match. And then it's like a 9.5-minute match of injured Dustin bravely standing up to Swerve. Who wanted that? Who on earth wanted that? Because I think the biggest reason why I wanted to ask you, Dave, about if you would have still picked Dustin, because I think that's the point, is like, you were willing to not pick Swerve on his meteoric rise, but then it's like, it's Dustin Rhodes. like not he is a legend. He has done great things for this industry, but he's Dustin Rhodes. He is beneath Swerve Strickland. I hate to say it like that, but right now he's beneath Swerve Strickland. So they either should have ended it after he broke his ankle. They either should have had it been or again, same with the JY MJF thing. If you want to just have a match, just have a match. Like, I don't know why you had to do the ankle break spot and then had the match, because there was interesting stuff, because Swerve was like, I don't want my time to be wasted. He was like saying that. I was like, oh, that's really interesting. But this match was like kind of sucked. I hate to say it. I always have good points. Dustin has a great power slam. That's a move that I love in wrestling. So his power slam was very good. And then it seemed like Swerve was kind of heel, but of course he's like one of the few people that got cheered that night, so he's not heel. And then it was nice to see Swerve win, but it shouldn't have been like a 10-minute match. And like a lot of the moves Dustin was doing is he needed to be like using his ankle. Like I think when Swerve was up on the ropes and he low blowed him, he used his broken ankle and like didn't sell it. So
the Canadian Destroyer.
It looked good, but again, it's like, don't you need your ankle for that, man? Like, I probably couldn't hit it if I got my ankle smashed with the cinder block, so I couldn't hit it anyways. But yeah, I don't really get this match. What do you feel,
Did
Dave?
you notice? Well, I felt like the crowd kind of they were cheering for the heel a lot throughout the night. I mean, it might have been because of Jericho, but
I think it's just stringent. You know, Swerve is uber over, so they're going to root for him anyways. And then there's stuff going on with Jericho right now, so people are going to boo him.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not, I was just gonna say, like, when we get to the match, oh, there's been something about Jericho. I'm not gonna go into it. It's bad if it's true, but nobody knows right now. But it did affect the match because it kind of took it over. So I think it's next. Do we just want to talk about it? Do we have anything else to say about this match?
No, yeah, I feel like it was like, okay, we advertised Swerve, we got to give him something, and then the thing they gave us just made no sense. It should have just been like if they wanted to give you something, it should have just been like an uncomfortable beatdown. Just Swerve just messes him up. Like it should not have been competitive in the least with how that started.
Well, again, I like the little bits where he was like, I don't want you to waste my time. Don't waste my time with this. Like, that is interesting. And then again, I pulled like this whole shit was worth it because at the end you got to do Swerve on a pay-per-view doing the belt motion.
Yeah.
Which is what CM Punk did the pay-per-view before he won the belt. So I think they were going to have the end result be the same always, was Swerve wins and he does the belt and he's like, yep, this is happening, Revolution. So
oh man, he's getting that belt from Joe.
That's again what I've been pitching is Joe picks it off of MJF. If MJF is staying in AEW, we get to keep that MJF Swerve match safe for years to come, and then Joe doesn't need a long reign, but he needs a reign. So we'll get to that. But unless you got anything else to say about this match, Dave?
No, we can move on. After that, we get a 8-man tag. Sting, Darby Allin, Jericho, and Sammy Guevara against Ricky Starks, Big Bill, Will Hobbs, and Takeshita. Wasn't it going to be Fletcher?
It was. And so I was like, oh no, Takeshita's going to lose. And then I hate to say it, I would have rather had Takeshita lose than what we got. I'll get to that, but
really,
I would have.
We were all the losers in this.
Can you believe that? I'm about to say I would have rather had Sting pin or tap out Takeshita than what we got, because at least then it would have been Sting is the big great guy. He's on his retirement run. He gets to pin a heel. I would have stomached that. We'll get to it.
Yeah. I wrote down here, the crowd cheering when the bad guys hit a move on Jericho. Ricky Starks won't even wrestle Jericho. He just flips him off and tags back out. It was good to see Darby and Takeshita together. That was a cool, fresh little bit of matchup there. Darby hit a code red on Takeshita. Uh, we got an avalanche helicopter blue thunder bomb from Takeshita on Darby, I believe.
Oh, Darby is the only one who would have taken that. They're not
Yeah,
doing that
right.
to Sting or Jericho.
No. We got Will Hobbs and Big Bill throwing Darby clear across the ring. Really rough landing. Ricky Starks doesn't want to team with Hobbs, kind of a story beat of the match, with Hobbs turning on Ricky Starks back in the FTW days. Sting ends up getting tagged and cleans house. We get Stinger splashes. He ends up racking Big Bill's balls on the top rope. Jericho and Sting do stereo Stinger splashes. Ricky Starks and Sammy Guevara. Let's see. Oh yeah, Starks. No, Sammy does a great cutter to Ricky Starks. We get a boss man slam to Sammy Guevara from Big Bill. Also a move that happened more than twice. Big boss man slam. We got Big Bill. Or actually a Scorpion Death Drop to Hobbs from Darby, which I thought was kind of cool. We get Takeshita dropping Darby on his head. Jericho has Hobbs in the walls of Jericho. Sting has Takeshita in the Scorpion Deathlock. Darby ends up diving on the outside on Big Bill. Ricky Starks spears Sammy for a 2 count. Sammy does the GTH to Ricky Starks. Then we get a shooting stars press to Ricky Starks for the win from Sammy Guevara. Yay, we're gonna get Jericho and Sammy versus Big Bill and Starks for the title. Don't you love that, Chandler?
There's so much that was just bad about this match. Like, again, I'll go with some good things because there's a lot of like really excellent talent in this match. I think just about everyone but Jericho and like Sammy Guevara. I'm not that interested in Hobbs, but that's whatever. But anyways, there's a bit where Hobbs and Bill just like chucked Darby across the ring. I thought that was really funny. Takeshita did look really good in this match. I was really glad that I just got to see him. I'm kind of at that point with him, like, if he's on this show, I'm happy. He gets to hit some of his moves. I'm happy. There's a point where I just got a little pissy and I wrote, look at Jericho and look at Takeshita. Like, just look at their bodies and you tell me who would win. Like, just look at them. Like, I was a little mad. And then Stark went for a Stinger splash. So I wrote Starky splash, something. And then just kind of getting on to the rest of the match. Why I would have preferred, like you said, we're getting Jericho and Guevara for the titles. I don't know why you couldn't have just said, I'm picking Guevara as my partner. I don't think anyone would have thought twice about that. And then there's that school of thought where you shouldn't have had the match anyways because of the controversy going on, which I'm kind of subscribing to that too. Like, let's say all this stuff was coming out about MJF, right? Like MJF was a bad person. That's all that was coming out. And they were like, well, we can't pull it because it's the main event. He's got the title. This is pretty important. But this match meant nothing. This match was literally nothing. It was set up on Dynamite, and half of them weren't involved in the story. So you probably could have just said, we're doing an investigation. Nothing's come out. We don't know anything, but we're not going to have this match for obvious reasons. Like, I don't know. I think that would have been the smarter shout, but we're probably going to get Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho for the titles. And I hate to say it, I think those guys are going to win. And that'd make me throw up. I'm gonna throw up all over the place. Like, can't the Callis family win something? Can't Darby and Sting? Like, I was kind of telling that story myself. Like, Darby and Sting, Revolution, main event, they go for the tag titles. Sting wins, retires the title, or Darby finds a new tag partner like next night. Like, that's a great story, but they're not the number one contenders.
No.
And where was Ric Flair in all of this?
Good question. He was at home where he belongs.
Did they just kind of conspicuously just like reeled that one back in?
He did
I think
say
they're gonna do that with Jericho too.
I bet you Flair will be there for Revolution, because that's like kind of the whole reason they're going to Greensboro was because of his match with Flair. And I think I said it before, like, I'm fine with Flair just being there for Sting. I don't want it, but it is what it is. They are real human beings, and this retirement for Sting does matter. Sting couldn't have been there for Ric Flair on his retirement tour in WWE. So it's like, I get it. I'm not an asshole, but I don't want to see him on TV other than that. So that's, again, I'm fine with it if it ends at Revolution. I don't think it's going to end at Revolution.
Yeah, I mean, I think they kind of backtracked big time with Ric Flair. He would have been on TV all the time.
Oh yeah, if that was hitting, yeah. Like Tony Khan is a numbers guy, and if that was producing ratings, he'd be pushing it.
Yeah, I think they did backtrack pretty hard. He will be on Revolution, but I think at this point he won't. He'll be around every now and again, maybe. But yeah, yeah, we'll see. After that match, we get a TBS title match. House rules, biting allowed. Julia Hart versus Abaddon. Yeah, it was great till the ending. I was pretty into it. Good match. I'm not gonna let the ending ruin it for me. I still think it was a great match.
Yeah, up to this point, this was my match of the night.
Yeah,
Everything preceding it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd still give this shout to the 8-man tag, but this was a pretty good match. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I just didn't know. I don't think I knew that biting was the rule until Abaddon started biting. I must have just missed it. And I was like,
yeah,
okay.
They said it during the entrances.
Yeah, I just missed it.
Which, in my like weird little head canon, like, you know, the officials went to Abaddon and was like, so what do you want your rule to be? And because she doesn't talk, she just bit the dude.
Yeah,
that's what she wants. She wants to bite.
But yeah, it was kind of cool right off the bat. We get "This is spooky" chants. They kind of did that a little bit later too. Abaddon looked aggressive. She was powerful, or they had really powerful forearm shots on Julia Hart in the corner. Abaddon bites Julia to escape a couple holds. Abaddon hits double knees to Julia and a cover for 2. There's another superplex we get to Abaddon from Julia Hart, cover for 2. Abaddon bites Julia's head, but then Sky Blue comes out and pushes Abaddon off the top turnbuckle. Abaddon chases Sky down and gives her a running knee. Julia slams Abaddon's head in the steel steps over and over. I mean, that is how you kill a zombie. Julia Hart hits her moonsault for the win, but she did not quite hit that to perfection. She kind of did she under rotate and landed on her feet, or over?
I think
a little over.
It looked like she landed on her hands and like just was like a little bit off, and like at most her hands and shoulders landed on Abaddon and she didn't quite get all of it. If I were a producer in one of these AEW shows, I think I'd like kind of start talking to the talent, because like one thing I remember hearing about like small things that you can tell a wrestler is like top notch, and it's just things you learn over time is if something didn't quite go well, you don't sell that as the end. You go, oh, well, that didn't work. Let's do something else. But this is one of those where like maybe you just have Abaddon kick out of the moonsault. Like, ooh, that would kind of build to the match. And it makes sense because, oh, she didn't quite get all of it. And then you could have just punched her 5 more times, done another moonsault, landed it. Oh, obviously that one. So I think it would just kind of like implore that into them. Like, hey, if you mess up your spot, that's okay. Things happen. Just kind of adapt. It might be better to adapt than just go with it. But it didn't ruin the match. I still thought it was a great match. I think Julia Hart's in that same Toni Storm tier for me, where I just like watching her wrestle. She's got the greatest entrance in AEW right now, except for Swerve. And then she won, which is the right call. What do you think, Chad?
Yeah, you know me. I love the weird. Oh god, the weird spooky stuff. I like the weird, crazy gimmicks and all that. So I was chuckling over the "This is spooky" chants. It was a fun match. Like I think Dave mentioned it a few times. You can always tell when the wrestlers are having fun. I think they actually enjoyed working together. Yeah, it was just good. I was able to overlook it, like you said. If they'd covered it a little better, I think that ending would have been just fine. But this for me is like pull that 8-man tag out of it. This is if we started the pay-per-view here, I think it would have been a great pay-per-view. Because like after here it just picked up steam and I really enjoyed everything after it. So yeah, like I enjoyed it. It was fun. I don't think any of us had a question about who was gonna win. It was obvious, but I was glad they had the match. How about you, Dave? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, great match. Like the ending didn't ruin it for me, didn't take me out of it. It could have looked a little better, but I'm not gonna complain. Now I will say that Julia Hart's next title defense, the way she executes her moonsault is a make it or break it for me. In her next defense, if she botches that one more time, it's going to take me out of it. But if she does it beautifully or even wins with her heartless lock, I'll be back. She cannot mess that up one more time or I'm done.
Yeah, didn't Sky Blue? She sort of changed up her finisher, right? The
Yeah.
last match she won with something that wasn't her
The
usual.
avalanche.
It was an
Yeah,
Yeah,
Avalanche
the
Code Blue.
avalanche.
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a slight change up to it. Like still pull out the moonsault for big moments, but yeah, maybe pull out a submission or something.
Yeah. I know that's one thing with like longevity for these wrestlers is you jump off from a top thing or a high thing that's going to break your body eventually. So kind of adapting to a more grounded style, I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I need her to hit that really nicely, you know.
Well, it's probably going to be Thunder Rosa at Revolution. So that should be fun.
Ooh, she'll probably be taking that thing too.
I hope not. I'm not ready for this title reign to end. Just barely started. I know Revolution is still 3 months from now, but
Yeah, hard to picture Thunder Rosa losing to her though.
Yeah, I know.
we'll see. I've only seen the one tag team match.
Ooh, I know we're always throwing ones at you, but the lights out with her and Britt Baker,
Yeah.
pretty mind blowing. It's a great match.
Yeah. Yeah.
Check it out. Check it out.
Okay, so after that, we get the no DQ TNT Championship match. Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland. Looks like Adam
This is
Copeland's
the
wearing.
reason I got to eat these stupid things, so I'm gonna have one right now.
Oh yeah.
I could break into this because I feel like this is the little bit of the sports entertainment nonsense I'd have a little bit more knowledge over. But a lot of people were like, "Oh, this saved the show." And I would agree. I mean, it was definitely a more livelier match. There's a lot going on, but I wouldn't still like this is still a fine match. It was Adam Copeland and Christian Cage going at each other for the TNT Championship. Ooh. Hang tight. Stand proud. You can do it. You can do it.
He's gonna puke.
Gosh, I hope not. I mean, this was another part, just back to Jericho, where I was getting a little pissy. I think I was like, look at Copeland. Like, he looks amazing for 50 or 51 or whatever he is. Like, he looks so good. He's in such good shape. And the only reason you don't see Christian is he wears the turtleneck, but he's in just as good a shape for the same age. So, my gosh, like, no wonder those two are able to tear his house down and have an excellent match like this. Like, it was so much fun. I liked having Shayna and Nick Wayne at ringside. I thought that was fun. It gave Adam Copeland a lot of odds to overcome. Thank goodness Nigel McGuinness was back. He was on something with this match. He was so funny. There was a bit where I can't remember who, maybe it was Tony Schiavone, but they were just like, shut up, Nigel, because they're just tired of hearing him. He's like, all right. Like, he's just so silly. Oh my gosh. And then there was a spot, I can't remember exactly what it was, but Edge was basically beating up Nick Wayne in front of Christian. He was just went, that's a man's son. And they were just like, well, he's not Christian's son. But like, he's so bought into this Christian stuff. It makes me buy into Christian even more. So, my goodness. But if you've recovered a little bit, you want to break down the match a little, Dave?
Yeah, man. By the way, Adam Copeland is the heel, by the way.
Not in what happened. He got screwed.
I'm going to call him from now on Cope. You see that
Cope.
on the cut he was wearing? Just say Cope.
The ring attire he had on was from his match against Mick Foley.
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
Plus another thing where I'm surprised they just mentioned Mick Foley on AEW. Didn't think that would happen, but I'm always keeping track of stuff like that.
I mean, AEW mentions, like, especially when they were new, they would mention like WWE, like current people sometimes, like they didn't care, like a lot back then. But yeah, they'll do that. They're not afraid to acknowledge Roman Reigns. I mean, other promotions.
Is that acknowledgement of the tribal chief? Did I hear that first? Am I hearing that? I'm writing that down. Dave acknowledges Roman Reigns as the tribal chief. Let's move on.
I don't know anything about him.
No.
He wins. Lol. That's all you need to know is he wins.
For many days. Yeah, we get Copeland jumping Christian right off the bat on the ramp. He pummels Christian all around the ring. He drinks a beer and smashes it on his forehead. Copeland slams Christian into the announce table. Copeland yells at Nigel McGuinness. I love that part. Copeland throws Christian into the steel steps. Christian's knees end up hitting the top of the steps. Christian runs into the crowd. He gets chased by Copeland. They brawl in the crowd for a while. Copeland throws Nick Wayne into a wall on top of the arena. Copeland jumps off the balcony onto Nick Wayne and Christian. Adam Copeland tightrope walks the barricade and does a forearm shot to Christian. We get a "You still got it" chant from the crowd.
Christian They've both been wrestling for years.
They've
been back for years.
Yeah. Christian ends up stomping Copeland's neck on the steel steps. Copeland is bleeding from his eyebrow. Looked pretty bad. Christian gets a couple kendo sticks and beats up Copeland with them, chokes him with it, drives the kendo stick into Copeland's neck. Nick Wayne grabs some chairs and throws them in the ring. Christian does a Boston Crab to Copeland while sitting in the chair, pinning Adam Copeland's neck. Love it. That was pretty cool. Adam Copeland ended up powering out. Nick Wayne grabbed a metal rod, but Copeland took control and hit Christian with a kendo stick. He got a crossface on Christian. Christian went to reach for the metal rod, but Copeland put it in Christian's mouth while in the crossface. Later on, Copeland grabbed a ladder and the crowd became unglued. They're looking for a little TLC, if you know what I mean. Christian hit a sunset power bomb on Adam Copeland from the top rope, or up from the top of the ladder, actually. Christian grabbed tables from under the ring. The crowd loved it. Adam Copeland hit an impaler on Christian onto a chair. Adam Copeland went for a concerto, but Nick Wayne grabbed the chair. And just in the nick of time, Christian low-blowed Copeland with a chair. Christian Cage goes for a spear on Copeland into a table, but Copeland leapfrogged Christian and ended up spearing Christian instead into the table. Copeland goes for a cover, but Mother Wayne pulled the ref. Copeland goes after Mother Wayne, but Nick Wayne hit Wayne's World on Copeland on the floor. Christian hit the kill switch on Copeland for a 2 count. Then we got Nick Wayne and Christian setting up a table, then setting it on fire, and they go to send Copeland through it. But Copeland ends up hitting a kill switch, and or actually right before that, Copeland puts Nick Wayne through the flaming table. Kind of didn't go the way they planned. The table didn't break.
He got close. The table broke. That counts.
Yeah. It kind of like flipped back on Nick Wayne, but yeah, people were calling that a major botch, but I mean, he was trying to hurt the kid. I mean,
that is true. Like, no matter what, he hurt Nick Wayne. He didn't set him on fire. And if we're like looking past kayfabe here, like, we don't want to actually set people on fire anymore. That's really dangerous. So I think Copeland was like, I don't want to burn this kid. He's 18. Like, I think he's like, I'll just like, he was trying to get it to where he broke the table and minimized as much burning damage he could to Nick Wayne, and I think he succeeded. I hate to say it. I think he succeeded, so I'm fine with it. It didn't.
Yeah.
This match was still great. It didn't kill anything for me.
They had a flaming table. It was cool. I liked it.
That is something
it was the Cody Rhodes spot, but still.
That is something I wrote. I was like, they're both 50, guys. We don't need fire. And then they brought it out. I was like, I guess they're doing fire. What do I know?
But yeah, Copeland ended up hitting the kill switch on Christian for the win. We get a new TNT championship. Then,
I had to go to the bathroom for this. So like, it's just like he's just the TNT champ, right? For and we'll see him on Dynamite, right? Like, is he gonna defend the title?
No.
Yeah. Is Killswitch gonna cash in on Dynamite, or did something happen?
Yeah, we got a instant cash in from Killswitch. But Christian ended up whispering something into Killswitch's ear, and Killswitch gave him the contract.
What do you think he whispered, Dave?
Man, I don't know. Like, you're not a real dinosaur. I'm gonna tell everyone.
Your dad's been extinct for billions of years.
What if it's just something simple as you'll be my favorite son? Something like, go with that real bad parenting, like, oh yeah, you'll be my favorite. I don't know. I'm kind of over this. Oh, he whispered something in his ear. What was it? Because I think I mentioned it a while ago. With that's what got Andrade into the C2 was CJ Perry whispered something into his ear, and he went from not interested to I'm gonna kill it and I'm gonna be the best person in it. So I was like, what did she say? Turns out it didn't matter. So I'm not really like, oh, what did he say? I think it was just like Christian needs to be the one who wins the title back. So he just needs to win the title back. Which he did. He won the title back. I've been debating, and I want to know what you two think. I can't tell if this is like the best thing ever, or I'm kind of sick of it. Like I can't decide, and I keep on getting like points and like, ooh, that's a good thing for like this is brilliant, and this is like, oh, I'm just kind of over this. So what did you guys think of this?
I
I
think
wanted it
depends.
wrapped up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I sort of think it depends on the feud. I think he needs one more good feud to take it off of him. The Copeland one, it just the story beats were weird. The pacing was weird. I think they needed some time to really build up more heat or do something like really fast and urgent, but it kind of wasn't either of those things. So,
As great as the C2 was, I think it killed a lot of the storytelling that we had on Dynamite, which is why the Devil story kind of sucked. And this story got some input, but not a lot. And I think they had to sell like, oh, Copeland was really demoralized after his loss, which is why we didn't see him for a while. But it's also like, maybe we should have just had something. Like, can't you just have Nick Wayne on Dynamite, have him wrestle a couple matches, like Lucha or Killswitch on Dynamite, have him wrestle a couple matches? One thing that I heard and I kind of thought was interesting, people were wishing that this TNT title shot happened like weeks ago on Dynamite, which I think I could see. Like it'd be nice to have that looming over the head. It would bring Killswitch into the story more because it felt like it was just Christian and Adam Copeland, and then they got to the pay-per-view and oh, Killswitch is still here. Remember him? But I thought this was fun. One thing I wrote down was I said Shayna Wayne was the Dominic Mysterio. Now she's the Solo Sikoa because she's pulling referees out of the ring. So she's multi-talented. Like I'm not kidding. She's kind of becoming one of my favorite people because she's kind of like that bad, but like I'm loving her.
Is she the new Mammy?
No, because Rhea Ripley's good. Rhea Ripley has talent. And then I thought it was really cool that Adam Copeland won with the kill switch, and then Christian won with the spear. Like, really nice to bring up there. And like Copeland got a win, and this awesome opportunistic guy who's was the first Money in the Bank cash in. He now is the shortest reigning probably title run in AEW. I could be wrong, but this is
he does.
Yeah, so I think that's really neat. And if this is the only title reign that Edge has or Adam Copeland has, it's cool. But I don't know. Would you guys want to see a sequel to this? Another one? Because I feel like they're going to do a cage match at
they're not done.
Yeah.
This is far from over.
Yeah, as long as this stretch of the feud is interesting, like better paced, actually hit those story beats. Like, I don't know, take some classes on story writing or something, because there's certain things to do to a story to make it feel good, and they really aren't doing it.
I think the problem is Tony Khan is still the only one doing booking at least across the 3 AEW shows. Like, come on, man. Like, just bring someone else in to do Rampage or bring someone else. Like, you don't have to do this all alone, Tony Khan.
Yeah.
You don't
and run 2 sports teams.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, things WWE does are scary, like creative and writers' rooms, but you don't need, there's a balance between one guy doing it and 10 people who don't like wrestling and were hired because they worked on movies. Like, there's a difference between that. And
there's a happy middle ground.
I heard I heard something very scary, and like this, like if Tony Khan, I know Tony Khan watches this, and I just need to say it, like, sure, this match was great and they were chanting TLC, and I do want to see another Adam Copeland and Christian Cage match. Do not get it into that thick head of yours that you need to do a Dudley Boys, Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian reunion. We do not need that. that would be the AEW equivalent of Goldberg and Taker. That would be as bad, if not worse. Like Adam Copeland.
I want it.
No, they're the only one. Like there are 2 people in that 6-man match that can wrestle. Only 2.
Yeah. Okay. You're right.
So that I implore you, Tony Khan, for the love of Christ, don't. I know you want to. I know you're like double or nothing, baby. That'll be a great match. No. But I don't know. This was a fun match. I don't have anything to say about it. Like it was it felt like, I hate to say it this way, it felt like a good WWE match where you're like, yeah, it was a lot of fun, and then you kind of forget about it the next day. So
yeah, no, it, like I said, if the feud gets good and the storytelling beats hit, I'd like to see a good build to one more match and then them burying the hatchet, maybe butting up and feuding with the heel elite maybe when they come back.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I'd be
mean, it
okay
would
with
be
that.
nice. It would be nice. I hope they pull it up. But then it's like, what do you do with Nick Wayne? What do you do with Shayna Wayne? What do you do with Kill Switch? Like, these people are kind of becoming too linked up with Christian to just cut it off and go, all right, Christian's going to team with Edge now. Like, I don't think.
Hey, look at the JAS. They are doing great now because of Chris Jericho.
Daddy Magic is great on commentary, and Daniel Garcia's funny. But if we're predicting, like, I'm going to predict that Adam Copeland and Christian win the tag titles in Wembley. I'm going to say that's an all-in kind of thing.
Okay, all right. We're gonna clip this and go circle back to it.
Watch, they challenge for the tag titles at Revolution because they make up by then, and I'm just like, well, my bad.
Wah, wah.
Or like something crazy happens, they make up at WrestleMania this year, and I'm like, well, my bad. How could I have known? They were working 5 minutes ago. What happened?
Yeah, fun match. I enjoyed it. We got the T, the L, and the C, and a little F.
What about
So,
S? What about stairs? It's table
yeah,
ladders.
I mean, ladders.
Ladders. It's tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs. The best pay-per-view ever.
Yeah, fun stuff. The match after that, though, my match of the night, man, I was just into it. They told a story. What an emotional roller coaster. I mean, I know, Chandler, we all knew where it was headed, and you've come to peace with, the ending of the tournament and the finals and all. But man, they told a story, man, and
Yeah.
and Eddie came out of it, and that belt, ooh, you don't like it, Chandler? I thought it was gorgeous.
I think it's one of the most generic belts I've ever seen. Like, I don't think it's bad, which I think it's better that it's generic than it's bad. But I mean, I hate to say it, I was right. Like, I was into this tournament. I was into this match. I liked the winner. I'm glad Kingston won it. He deserved it. But as soon as he won it, I don't care anymore. Like, we're past the tournament. It's over. I still don't care about the Triple Crown. I don't care about him defending it. Like,
It had been mentioned that each belt now can be independently defended.
So then it's not like, didn't the actual Triple Crown unite 3 championships, and that's why it's Triple Crown?
It's not called the Triple Crown. It's called the Continental. It's just the Continental Crown Championship.
So they just made a new belt.
Yeah. So that kind of seems to me like for you, it might be, that seems a little better, right? At least it's not 3 belts wrapped into one.
We don't need another belt. They just made another Ring of Honor belt. What are we talking about? Less belts? Like, we want these Ring of Honor belts off. So they just made a new one. Like, again, I don't care. This should have just been for a world title match at Revolution.
I mean, the cool thing about it too is we have a relation, or we, as if we're AEW, we have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a relationship with the Ring of Honor. We have a they have a relationship with New Japan out of it too, which is kind of cool, like their belt is being defended, in AEW. I think that kind of adds a little bit of value to the whole thing in my mind. Like that gives it something.
Yeah, I suppose, but Eddie Kingston has never defended his never strong open weight championship specifically in AEW. So, and they already do have a relationship. They've done Forbidden Door twice now. So,
Yeah.
they've had a relationship. But let's talk about the match. It was a great match. Maybe just not my match of the night. I think I preferred the main event more, but it was still a great match, and the right person won.
Yeah. Started out with we get Danielson on commentary, and he made great points throughout the
Him
entire
and
match.
Taz talking technique were awesome. That made it
Mhm.
so better, especially with how they started, which you're about to get into. But like the Brazilian jiu-jitsu stuff with like Kingston pulling guard and like them talking about the finer points of it. Oh, I was into it.
Yeah, talking about Eddie setting up his strikes, the test of strength not being a test of strength, it's a test of wills. Man, yeah, I really liked his insight. Yeah, they chop the shit out of each other. Um, Eddie won't go down with a shoulder block from Moxley. Eddie ends up diving on Moxley, but Eddie's head ended up hitting the barricade harder than Moxley's. That looked pretty rough. Moxley hit a paradigm shift on the floor to Kingston. Danielson was right there, and he's like, I can't believe I lost to this guy.
Yeah, Danielson was on point. I'm a little bummed they couldn't just squeeze Nigel McGuinness in there, but Brian Danielson was great. So
Yeah. When he retires, man, put him on commentary every now and again. I'd love that. Uh, but yeah, we get a forearm block to Eddie. They show a replay, basically bone on bone hitting. Um, we get a pile driver to Eddie, then a step over toe hold face lock to Eddie. He gets out of that. Eddie Kingston chops Moxley harder than I've ever heard any chop on television in my life. Um, they chop back and forth. Moxley gives Eddie the double middle finger. And then Eddie chops him even harder than the first one, louder than I've ever heard in my life. Um, Eddie does an exploder to Moxley. Moxley's real wobbly. Eddie hits a back fist on Mox. They both go down. We get machine gun chops to Moxley in the corner. Eddie says, "You want 100%, motherfucker?" Moxley runs. Uh, Moxley kind of runs away a little bit. Eddie gives him more machine gun chops in the corner. Eddie does a DDT to Moxley. Moxley does a cutter to Eddie. Back fist to Moxley from Eddie. Moxley hits a lariat to Eddie Kingston. Eddie hits a Northern Lights bomb to Moxley. Eddie gets a bulldog choke on Moxley. Then Eddie hits hammer and anvil elbows to Moxley. Then a bulldog again. Moxley ends up reversing and getting Eddie in a bulldog. He gets it locked in, legs and all. The ref checks on Eddie to see if he's still in it, and Eddie ends up getting to the ropes. Uh, After that, Eddie hits another back fist to Moxley for a 2 count. Another Northern Lights bomb to Moxley for a 2 count. They end up just slapping the shit out of each other. Uh, Eddie ends up getting one little sneaky back fist right at the end there for the 3 count. He ends up beating John Moxley. the first Continental Crown champion. We get You Deserve It chants, Moxley and Eddie hug, match of the night for me. I loved it, the tournament, everything about it. I'm gonna be chomping at the bit for next year for that tournament. It was amazing, and now I'm really dreading not having it around. So yeah, what do you two think about it?
I love this match. I don't get to watch it nearly as often as I like, but I love New Japan and specifically like New Japan strong style matches. And this to me was like a love letter to it, just how like, it built and it built and it built. And then that ending was just like bomb after bomb until one of them finally put the other guy down. It was, for me, a good culmination of Kingston getting through specifically all the BCC and with like Mox as the scary final boss. It was I love the match. I love the attitude. I love him to, you want 100% motherfucker, and then just pushing through to the end. Yeah, the commentary complimented it, the fight. They didn't like pull away from it. Yeah, this was the point where like the phone was away and I was glued to the TV. Like, this is great for me. Probably my match of the night. I enjoyed MJF versus Joe as well, but for me this one had my attention 100%. How about you, Chandler?
I mean, I did quite enjoy this match. I think my kind of problem with it, and it's not so much a problem with this match, it might just be a problem with like kind of wrestling in general. There's a lot of chop battles in wrestling right now, especially at AEW. So when you do them all the time, it makes a match like this feel less important. So I think that's why I wasn't as into it as you guys was. I was like, it's kind of just, and I know it wasn't just, there was a lot more to it than it, but it just felt like another chop battle for me for a bit. And of course, there's like bits that made it a little bit better. Like there's one specifically where like Eddie Kingston chopped Mox so hard he had to go to his knees for like 20 seconds and like catch his breath. Like that means something. So when you do something like that, I was like, on board. It was great. But again, like that was one chop of like 50, which is still crazy. It's still a lot, but it's like, it just, law of diminishing returns. This was kind of hitting for me. Like I was like, I feel like I've seen this a lot before. And then we got to the last bit, and it was cool how he hit this sneaky third back fist, but I felt like a match like this with this magnitude and how important this tournament has been. And I think it needed just one more move for me, like his power bomb that he's been setting up a lot. It's like Kawada's move or whatever. Like, I think for me, it needed something like that. But seeing Kingston with the 3 belts was great. The little hug, or not a little hug, but the hug with Mox and Kingston was real. Like, it was heartwarming. So by no means was this a bad match. I just don't think this was my match of the night. And like maybe 1%, like 1% disappointing for what I had for the CC final. And that's just because of how brilliant this classic has been. I hate to say it, this was not the best match of the classic, which sucks because you would want the final to be the best. But for me, it wasn't.
Eddie Danielson was my match of the classic.
Either the first one or the rematch.
The first one.
I think one thing I wrote down, and this was just kind of like the crowd was even kind of like, it was good for this match, but they were still bits where they were dead. And like, I just thought of that Swerve and Mox match where like the crowd was like unglued for the entirety of it. And I was like, I kind of missed that. Like, that was just a match on Dynamite, but that felt like a moment. Like, holy crap, this is big. And this was the final, and people were like, yeah, let's go Kingston. But
what do you think caused the crowd not to be as hot? Like when we were in Seattle, it was uncontrollable. Like everyone was going crazy.
And that like wasn't a full crowd. Like that arena was not full. I don't know why. Like, I mean, I would say that Wrestle Dream had 2 matches that were better than anything on this card, but those matches were also like halfway through the card. So I don't know. I wasn't there. But like, it's weird when you see a crowd like this because they were so full and they would get so quiet. But they at least were loud for the next match. I'll say that. But before we get that,
absolutely.
did you see what they announced for Collision?
No.
Ooh, what's that?
Oh, they announced FTR versus House of Black is happening on Collision.
Oh,
which
yeah.
really kind of made me mad because I was like, that's like one of the few matches that have had build. There has been build on Collision. There's been
For
story
months.
time on Collision. Even at Full Gear, it was still kind of built around this FTR House of Black, and that was a month ago. So you put that dog shit 8-man tag on this, and you had FTR and House of Black in your back pocket and just didn't feel like it. Maybe it's because they have like an hour-long barn burner that they can have on Collision that they can't do on the pay-per-view because they just don't have that kind of time. But it's also like, why? Why don't we have matches with build on the pay-per-view? Why are they on the next week's show?
Yeah. I mean, at least we're gonna get it. It should have been on the pay-per-view for sure. I don't know. My theory is one of the 4 guys, something was going on and it just they couldn't work it out. Maybe Cash had a court date Friday or something,
Well,
like who knows?
to keep bringing up people that, wrestlers that people think are going back to the Fed. A lot of people think Malachi could be heading back here as soon as his contract is up. So maybe this is a bit like the Jade Cargill Statlander match where they're just like, Statlander Cargill have a match. Okay. All right. Cargill's gone. And like days later, it was all but known that she was headed to WWE. So
Not to derail the podcast, but I have been keeping my eye on the day one results in case MJF popped up because I thought that'd be hilarious. But they've been teasing the return of a former WWE.
Was it Big
champion.
E?
Nope.
Oh.
Even worse.
Who was it?
Most disappointing thing I could even think of.
Oh my gosh.
Don't hinder the gender.
I was going to say Jinder Mahal.
And then The Rock came out and beat him up and challenged Roman Reigns.
No, you're joking. Oh, okay. Can I go off a tangent for Jinder Mahal for 5 seconds?
That's why I threw that out. I love getting Chandler wound up. It's my favorite part of the cast.
So I wasn't watching when he won the title, but like obviously that's such big news. You hear about it. And so I remember just going on Twitter and being like, who? The guy from 3MB is WWE champ. He beat Randy Orton on a pay-per-view. And I somehow came across the Indian dub of him winning. And it's so hilarious because he pins him and they don't know what to do. Like, I think they didn't know. I think it was a shoot for these Indian commentators. They were like, they're like freaking out. And then they just start going, India number 1, India number 1, India number 1. So it's like, people, like, I get why people who had to watch that reign, because it was like a 4-month reign and he beat like Nakamura twice on pay-per-view. Like, it's cursed. But like, I always look at it and I just laugh because I'm like, at least I got to hear India number 1, India number 1. So I can't believe that they were hyping. I was actually like, oh, what if it's Big E? Like, because that would be so great. Big E's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that would get me in the feels.
Oh, are they doing? They're gonna do Jinder and Gunther at the Royal Rumble for the IC title, and I'm gonna. They're having like Gunther build up, like he just built the Miz up, which is fine because I think Miz has some talents that Jinder Hall does not. So
Jinder's gonna put an end to Cody's story.
That would be something. Jinder hijacks. There's a triple threat, and like Jinder pins Cody to win the title off of Roman. I don't know.
Stack them both.
I don't. I think that would win it if Jinder packed and stacked and pinned Cody, and that would be a statement. That's how you get the Indian market. Well, that's enough,
True.
Jinder. I'm glad we got to bring that up. Shout out to Jinder, but we're on to the main event.
This main event.
Mm-hmm.
It's time.
It is for the main event. AEW World Championship. MJF defending against Samoa Joseph. Yeah, really great match. MJF ended up doing more than I thought he could do, injured, which was kind of cool. We had Adam Cole there to support MJF.
Oh, I forgot.
Uh,
I'm gonna tease it now. I meant to tease it at the beginning. Excalibur dropped a bomb that basically, to me, confirms MJF was going to WWE. So I'm in the MJF is going to
oh,
WWE camp.
I know
Whatever
what
you
you're
want,
saying.
you want
I
me to
know what it
drop it?
is.
Please.
Yeah, I
So
know what. Yeah,
when MJF was first getting in, it was right before, and I encourage everyone to go back and watch this because either they confirmed that he's dropping the title or they confirmed that he's leaving. But he's standing or he's sitting on the ropes, like the top ropes, and he's getting really emotional, which makes sense just in a like face value. He's in his hometown, big stadium, big face reaction. The next Excalibur on commentary goes, for one more final time, and then was cut off by Justin Roberts. And they never like went back and said that. So either they were
he
like,
messed up. He shouldn't have
mm-hmm,
said that.
mm-hmm.
You
You
effed
don't
up. You
you don't
effed up.
say something like for like you should have said just like, oh, for one more time we get to see MJF, but it was for one more final time. So yeah, I'm on the MJF is going to WWE bandwagon now. But anyways, that was about it. I just kind of thought that was interesting. And no one has said anything about it.
Right, I caught that too. Yeah, the shoulder was bandaged up. It's a big target, Taz says. MJF gets some early offense, but Joe turns the tide and takes control. He brutalizes MJF. He does an iron claw on MJF's shoulder. Really like that. Joe goes for a muscle buster, but MJF escapes. MJF rolls up Joe in an inside cradle, but Joe kicks out. MJF goes for a kangaroo kick, but Joe catches him and catapults him over the top rope. MJF tried to skin the cat, but Joe knocks him off the apron, and Joe dives on MJF on the outside. Joe hits a Death Valley driver to MJF for a 2 count. Samoa Joe hits a German suplex, a dragon suplex, and a straight jacket suplex for a 2 count. Even Taz had to call that out and be like, wow, Joe doesn't really pull that out very often. Joe does a a muscle buster to MJF on the apron. Holy shit. MJF kicks out at 2. After that, MJF goes for another kangaroo kick, but Joe kicks him out of the air. MJF tries to put Joe on his shoulders, but he collapses. MJF hits a heat seeker on Joe. Joe kicks out at 2. MJF gets the salt of the earth on Joe, uses tape to help him keep the hold, but the ref catches him, makes him break the hold. Joe gets MJF in an armbar, and MJF gets to the ropes. Adam Cole cheers him on. Samoa Joe gets MJF in a choke, but MJF shoves Joe into the ref. We get a ref bump. MJF low blows Joe, does an F5, right?
Yeah.
On Joe, which
Brock
was
Lesnar's
really
All Elite
beautiful.
confirmed.
No, it's MJF's first feud in WWE.
Ooh.
Not bad. Both men collapse. Let's see. Uh, MJF covers, but the ref is too late. Joe kicks out. MJF asks Adam Cole for his diamond ring. Cole searches for it and finally finds it, but he's too late, and Joe grabs MJF. MJF rolls up Joe for a 2, but Joe chokes MJ out for the win. Even the ref seemed surprised. I like that little touch at the end. That was cool. We got a new champ, man. Joe leaves. MJF looks really sad. The Dumpling Gang show up around. They grab MJF and Adam Cole.
Ooh, before we get into the reveal, do we just want to break down the match and like kind of separate it up a
Yeah,
little bit?
sure.
Because I feel like there
Yeah.
is a difference between Joe winning the title and then what follows, because Joe winning the title had nothing to do with what happened next. So
Yeah, it was a clean win.
That's kind of how I feel about it. I'm not like showing it. I was buzzing when Joe won because I was like, I think I predicted it and I wanted it, but oh my gosh, to see it actually happen. And I think I was like shocked when it first happened. And then as time goes on, I love how he won the title. Like,
yeah, no, his Bryce's reaction was the exact same as mine, which is I expected the old fist to come up and start shaking. And then, no, he was just like,
yeah, you gotta, a huge man like Samoa Joe just on your back choking you out. Like, I guess you can't just baby face power up your way out of that.
No.
But Joe countered the kangaroo kick that makes him the biggest heel in the biz. He's the biggest heel in the biz. And then and I genuinely, like, I was watching this after the show had ended, so I had known like when it ended. But when he hit that muscle buster on the apron, I was like, no, that's done. Like you don't kick out of that, right? Isn't it like the hardest part of the ring? I could be wrong, but my sources have told me that it's the hardest part of the ring. But I mean, I just think that finale is so perfect because like he pops up and he's like, yeah, yeah. And it's like quiet for like 10 seconds. You don't hear his theme, and the crowd's just like, what? Like, what is going on? And then he gets the title.
Hometown.
Yeah. Oh, like I love Joe so much. And I hate to be like this, but like he's gonna have like a 2-month reign, and I'm gonna love every second of it. Because like I think all I want is give him like 2 or 3 or 4 good defenses on Dynamite and Collision coming up, and then sort of just beats him at Revolution. Like,
yeah, perfect. The thing nobody's talking nearly enough about though is that little video package right at the beginning where the chick said she fucked him in the back of a car, and that shit was tearing me up, man. I was loving that. Yeah, he came out with that slick robe, like he had win face, like he sold it perfectly. Like I was like, oh my god, is he gonna somehow find a way to pull this off? And yeah, then like the beating he took, and he kept trying to come back. He took Joe's Uranagi, which shout out to that move. That never looks bad. Joe's Uranagi does, like him and Jay White have. It's hard to say who has the better one.
I think they're just too different. It's like Jay White goes in with his whole body and he like kind of turns for a bit, like he's going everything in it. And like Joe's kind of the opposite because he's so big. All he has to do is like bring you up, and then he does like chuck you as hard as he can. Like I think they're just different, but both fantastic.
Yeah, but good results, and interested to see what the future holds. Like you said, it doesn't need to be a long reign. It just needs to be quick and violent. He needs a few just messed up title defenses to kind of build some credibility for, yeah, like you said, probably Swerve.
You might have to do an Orange Cassidy deal with him where they maybe throw like tons of people at him and just break him down kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. Just something good for. I just want to see like a good couple matches with him as champ, see him retain, and then be perfectly fine with him losing to Swerve.
Yeah.
Unless you guys have anything to say, we gotta talk about my all-in prediction finally coming true. I was right. It just took 6 months.
Yeah, so yeah, we got Joe winning. Joe leaves the arena. MJF is sad. The dumplings show up. They got one has a chair. Adam Cole says, "Hit me." MJF says, "Hit me." The lights go out when they come back on. Adam Cole sitting in the chair with all the dumplings behind him. It ends up being Wardlow, Roderick Strong, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett. They all attack MJF. Cole pulls the devil mask from his jacket, throws it on MJF, and they all stand tall. We got the big devil reveal.
Yeah, we did.
I'm glad it wasn't Jack Perry.
I'm glad it happened.
I'm confused.
Ooh, yeah.
What's the point? Like, in theory, the championship's like the greatest prize, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want it on a weakened MJF and not a mad psychotic assassin Samoa Joe? I don't want to fight that guy.
There's been one thing keeping this alive, in my opinion, and it's that his end goal isn't the title for some reason, and that's only kind of backed up by Wardlow kind of saying in a promo that he wasn't going for the title. He just wanted Max to suffer. And so, like, that's a lot of, like, if this works out, and I agree with you guys, but I'm just kind of guessing that the title wasn't the end goal here. And that's all
I guess we'll have to let it play out.
Yeah.
With no MJF, how could it play out?
I think, yeah. So Wardlow and the Kingdom, we've known that for like months, but it was like, oh, who's this third person? I hate to say it, I was really disappointed that it was Roderick Strong. I think that's like probably
I thought he was going to be the Stoogie, odd man out. Wow, easy for me to say.
Like, you could have done so much good stuff with, and let's say Max is staying in AEW, which is just as likely, but I'm just kind of on the other side. But Max stays. Now it's just Max and Roddy against Adam Cole and the Kingdom and whoever the fourth person would be in Wardlow. Like, that is so great. And like seeing Roddy potentially grapple with, oh, Adam Cole, his best friend is evil. The Kingdom, his two friends are evil. Like, this is, and it's like, no, Roderick was in on it the whole time. Like, that's really uninteresting. And I care any will that Roderick Strong had, I've lost. And like, it's kind of the same with Wardlow, is like any interest that he had is now gone because he's just now under Adam Cole. And it was all about Adam Cole. And now Adam Cole is still injured. So who knows when he's coming back? And then it's also like, well, did this only happen because MJF lost? Because why didn't this happen at Full Gear? Because, like, what changed? And it's just like, if you think about it all building, it kind of just doesn't. It kind of falls apart for me. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt and just hoping Adam Cole cuts a promo on Wednesday. And he's like, I did it for this. I was on the bench and I saw you succeed. You lost those Ring of Honor tag titles, but then it doesn't make any, it doesn't make sense. So.
Yeah. There's no logic at all.
It's just that he was jealous, but jealous of what? He lost, and then MJF doesn't have the title anymore. So what does he have to be jealous of? So unless he's just vindictive and just wanted to ruin his life, which I don't know, like that works for Wardlow because I didn't see it, but I believe you guys when you say he treated Wardlow badly, and I believe all the promo packages that Wardlow's been cutting to where he has a bone to pick with Max, but I don't know. I loved how when he got him in for the powerbomb, he went, finally, like that was really cool. So I'll give him kudos for that. That was really cool. But again, it's like, like at least it happened. At least it wasn't Jack Perry.
Man, I think Wardlow could have worked as the devil.
Yeah.
I think I almost would have liked that drive.
The motivations would have worked out better, because it was just I just wanted to inflict punishment on him. He ruined my life. I'm going to ruin his.
It's like Wardlow. Wardlow's been the guy who's been calling out Max and saying he's going to end his world. Like, yeah, he just wasn't wearing the devil mask when he was cutting all those promos, and now that would have been interesting, but didn't happen.
Yeah, this is really interesting. It'll be neat to see how they reset on Wednesday for the Fallout show.
New year, new them.
I hope.
Yeah.
They kind of need like a real banger of a Dynamite that really establishes a lot of new things. Because if they don't have that, like I'm not gonna like be out, of course, because we review this, but it'll kind of kill a lot of my interest going forward. Because they really needed a great pay-per-view, and we didn't get one. We got a mid pay-per-view. So
how about we're getting Serena Deeb back?
That was
You
a
catch
cool
that?
promo. I love that promo.
I heard,
Yeah.
so that's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. Been gone a long time. Yeah, that should be good. Yeah, hopefully we get a nice reset, shuffle. I feel like we did after Wrestle Dream. They did a good job of resetting. And also, do you think they're going to try to sneak in a new pay-per-view in between now and
I think they would have had to announce it on World's End, and the fact that they didn't, I'm going to say no.
now they didn't announce the next pay-per-view date, right? Well, usually they do at each pay-per-view. So that kind of
it's just Revolution.
Yeah, March 3rd.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, we already know it.
I think they're just going to be building till Revolution.
Okay. March, man, that's a long way away.
Good.
I think they're going to
Maybe
sneak
some
one in.
long-term storytelling. Like, let's just like slow burn it. Like, build up some good feuds.
What about aren't there typically like one-off big Dynamite shows like a Fighter Fest or Fight for the Fallen? Maybe one of those is around the corner.
Yeah, they're typically summer, I believe. But yeah, long time until Revolution.
Do you want to do highs and lows? What was your guys' highs and lows for the night?
Match of the night, my high, Eddie Kingston winning that tournament final. Probably my low of the night. I think I'll give it to a 0 hour match, the Willow botch. It just looked really bad to me, and I cringed hard. How about you, Chandler?
High point is specifically Joe winning the title. I think he looked great. I was like, I think it was the right call. I'm really excited. I think that coming out of this is what I'm most excited about. Is what do you do with Samoa Joe as top champ in a company? That's something I wanted in WWE and I didn't get. So I was really glad to see. My low point is a fucking Jericho match, and I hate to say it. His accusations have nothing to do with that. I've been a Jericho hater since this podcast started. So I would have hated that match as much as I did because that was just a purely bad match. So
yeah.
How about you, Chad?
Mox Kingston for me was my high. Like I said, for me, it hit all my beats that I love. You know, they pulled a little realism in there, like the Brazilian jiu-jitsu spots right at the beginning were cool. Kingston pulling guard and trying to out jiu-jitsu Mox, I thought was kind of rad because Mox always has the death jiu-jitsu t-shirts on and stuff. Yeah, just for me it was such a good story, and Kingston and Mox both just know how to tell a good story, and that made the night for me. Low point, I'm with Chandler on that one. That match had just zero chemistry. Nobody wanted to be there. It felt like it was just it was sad that Sting had to be involved in that, because I would have rather just pulled all that, have Sting and Darby just have a cool go against Turbo Floyd and Truth Magnum or whatever.
or like have Sting and Darby. I hate to say this, have Sting and Darby versus the Callis family, and you just have Sting pin Takeshita. Like, this is coming from one of Takeshita's biggest fans. Like, anything to avoid what we got. But
yeah, I think I think when the Golden Jets thing did it, it would have been a good opportunity to reset all that and just push off and go in a different direction. Because, yeah, that was just, it was uncomfortable and not fun.
Yeah.
I watched Dynamite's gonna open
you
with Jericho. He's like, I know, guys, I know you've all been waiting since World's End. I know who my tag team partners. And it was just like, boo. Ah!
Yeah.
It's Nick Nemeth.
Ooh,
No, he's showing up soon. He's gotta.
did any of you two or either of you two hear the rumor they're redesigning the AEW championship belt?
No, I did not.
There was a kind of a leak uh, of a picture of it where the AEW logos uh, behind a black background instead of the way it looks now. Looks a little different, but yeah, I think that Joe was talking about wanting to give it his own flair. He kind of talked about the Triple B, and that was MJF's deal. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, the wrestling news tidbits. Yeah, MJF no longer on the roster. That doesn't automatically mean that he's leaving.
They've done that with him before. They did that with him after the Double or Nothing. So I don't consider something like that a point in my honor or a point in my favor. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
They moved Jay Uso to the basically retired page, and then 2 weeks later he was back on like TV. Like, this is something that all companies do.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think a lot of the news is just kind of like speculation and like, oh, Andrade's probably going over. Oh, Jericho might have done something. It's just a lot of speculation. There's nothing that's been real clear cut.
Something from last week that I really liked. Liv Morgan is a pothead.
That was no, that wasn't hers. Supposedly, like it was
She
like
didn't inhale.
it's yeah. I apparently the pen was her friend's and it's found in her car. Okay,
She got a felony charge.
Yeah, wrong state.
Ooh.
Florida.
Put
I
her up in that.
know. Who would have thought Florida?
They're like not uber conservative, but they're more conservative. They tend to lean a little bit more red, so I'm not that surprised. But what is that? Liv Morgan and Cash Wheeler are two big convicts for the year. Wow, who would have expected that?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, she had trouble maintaining her lane. That's why she got pulled over. Yeah, bummer. At least I like to know that she was into weed.
It didn't apparently it didn't like WWE doesn't think any less of her for it. Like, so she's not going to be punished for it. She just probably won't be on TV for a bit, which I think she was injured anyways because she hasn't been on TV for a while, but she's great. Love to see her again soon.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that might be about it on the news. Yeah, I think we're about ready to wrap it up. Unless you two have anything you want to contribute.
Real quick, over halfway there to the 100 subscribers. What were we gonna do when we hit 100 subs again?
Da bomb.
Well, you're doing a bomb chip, right, Chad?
Yep, gonna wreck my life. It's probably worse
I'm
than
gonna
these
eat.
stupid things.
Yeah, yeah. These were, a little abrupt and annoying, but they weren't like painful to really,
No, I'm getting jazzed up. They had a lot of sugar in them.
Yeah. Diabetes. Woo!
No sleep till down.
But when we hit 100, I'm gonna just eat a lot of these. I'm not gonna do no increment crap. I'll probably do the top 3 hot at once, and then just eat
So,
the other ones in my leisure.
if you would like to apply for the third man position of the Grapple Sauce crew, at 100 subs, I feel like we'll be losing our good friend the Daver.
I want it on record. I'm advising him not to do this. He's just gonna do it. So I want it on record that one of us is telling him not to do it.
It's good content.
But yeah, we are currently at 68 subscribers.
Subscribe right now. Don't you want to be the nicest subscriber we've ever had? Come on, nice. Subscribe now. Do it.
And the cool thing is we've started at like 61 today.
Ooh.
So they're climbing. We're getting like
the top
6
5
to 8 a
videos
day.
you all have been doing. They've done some work.
Yeah, hey, it's still up in the air whether or not MJF is going to WWE or staying with AEW. So watch him figure out maybe what Dave thought why he could go, what I thought maybe he should go. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, check out our videos. Don't forget to like, comment if you agree, disagree with our take on any match, any wrestler, any gimmick. Engage with us. We'll bring you up in our podcast, answer your questions during our show. When those start coming in, that'll be a fun little part of our show too, engaging with the audience. So we're having a blast. The more we do this, the more I want to do it.
Well said.
So yeah, check out our MJF videos, our top 5 legendary face painted wrestlers. And we've got a few cool top 5 videos coming down the pipe from Chad. So
yeah, I got a week off my real job, so I'm gonna mess around. Let my strange wrestling takes come out in the form of top 5 videos.
I'm excited.
Of doing, top 5 goofy gimmicks and possibly top 5 WTF moments, but like as pertains to me, not like in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be boring to have it be in general because it would have to be like, well, the Montreal screw job was pretty WTF, but nobody needs to hear about that. We all know.
No, it's the ones that like specifically bring back nostalgia to me. There's some good ones on there.
I'm excited.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, should be great. Yeah, the people are loving our top 5 videos. Should be great. Ooh, before we go, we are going to Prestige Roseland 7 in 4 days. So, yeah, we'll try to get you a review. We'll get you a review for that, and should be a great show. Our local indie promotion. Should be fun. So, I think that just about does it. Thank you all for watching. Again, don't forget to subscribe and have a good evening, morning, afternoon, whatever it is for you. And thank you for watching.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye-bye.